The Yamaha RX-15 drum machine was first released in 1984. At that time, it sold for about 449 British pounds, which would be approximately $900 US. Now keep in mind that was $900 US back in 1984, which would be certainly worth a lot more money today. Basically, the RX-15 was a stripped-down version of the RX-11. Now, some of the specs on the RX-15, it had 128 kilobytes of ROM, it offered 15 voices, for memory it had 100 patterns, 10 songs, and you could program 255 maximum parts into a song. You had left and right output and a headphone output. You had cassette in and cassette out, so you could save data to cassette and also reload it later if you wanted to. There was a foot switch connection. It also offered MIDI in, out, and through. It weighed about 2.8 kilograms, and it had an all-plastic body. And most people found that this machine was very bulky, and some people complained that it had a non-backlit LCD screen. There were 12 pads, and the power consumption was 10 watts. Now, my experience with this drum machine, I actually rented this drum machine way back in 1991. I believe I had it for a weekend. And right now on your screen, you are seeing photos that I took in my home studio way back 30 years ago. Yes, I had a very primitive setup. And so I used the RX-15 for a couple of days. My impression of it was it was an interesting drum machine. Again, I found it very bulky and kind of awkward and cumbersome. Even by 1991 standards, it just seemed a bit boxy and bulky to me. But the sound quality was good. I recall really liking the tom sounds and the bass drum and the snares. Now, in a moment, you will actually hear a recording that I made of the RX-15 way back during the weekend that I rented it in 1991. These are patterns that I actually programmed into the RX-15 during the weekend that I had rented it, and I recorded these patterns to cassette back in 1991. I recently dug out this cassette and decided to digitize it, and I'm going to share it with you at the end of this video. So again, the RX-15, I think it was definitely an interesting drum machine. It was a good drum machine. I don't think anyone would consider it a classic drum machine, but it certainly was decent and certainly used by many, many artists back in the day. And now, here is a recording of the Yamaha RX-15 that I made way back in 1991.